The Sopranos was a foundational piece of television, but you don't need me to tell you that. You know it, your dad knows it. Everyone has seen this show's influence on modern television, and maybe without even realizing it. So it only makes sense that a show this big would see HBO try to make the most of it. This led to the making of The Sopranos, Road to Respect, a beat-em-up PlayStation 2 title developed by 7 studios and published by THQ. THQ has sent many studios to the licensed game mines, and only a few have lived to tell the tale. Licensed games have had a pretty bad track record, and Road to Respect is no exception. But I find this game's shortcomings to be uniquely bad. Everything from its story, gameplay, and animation make up this train wreck of a game I just couldn't look away from. I really need to get something out of my time with this game, so here we are.
That's the iconic Sopranos R. The R gun.
This game's setup isn't actually that bad, and I think you could do a lot worse for a TV tie-in game. The protagonist isn't just some nameless, voiceless, self-insert gangster. He is an actual original character, and he has an interesting enough backstory. Joey LaRocca is the bastard son of Salvatore Bompensero, better known as Big P-Word. Reading that sentence out loud now makes this backstory sound kind of like someone's Sonic OC, but Joey being an illegitimate son of a rat sets him up as a character who needs to climb up the organized crime ladder to prove himself worthy of being made. He's voiced by Christian Malin, who I learned was actually originally considered to play Christopher in the actual show before they went with Michael Imperioli. Christian's performance is a highlight of the game, along with all the other vocal performances.
Joey, that stripper, she really called Unique?
Yeah, that's a real name. Unique Von Head up your ass.
With that little explanation of the premise out of the way, we can now get into the game proper. This game's intro is great because you get to see James Gandolfini in all of his pre-rendered cutscene glory. This intro and the game over cutscene are the only cutscenes like this in the game, and that's honestly for the best.
Who's just sitting there? What do you care?
You fucked up my face.
We get our first experience with the combat, but in the form of a slideshow. These tutorial messages constantly showing up are funny as hell, but it just feels like you're pressing continue and not using the buttons in their actual context. Inside the Bing, we get introduced to this game's dialogue system, which is just as deep as the classics like Deus Ex.
What a shame.
I don't think these dialogue choices actually change anything, so Fallout 4 fans are gonna love this. I gotta say, the game is impressing me so far. They've really nailed that pathetic, depressing atmosphere that strip bars have.
You want anything from the deli? Ollie's hungry.
Which must mean you're buying. Give me a salami on rye, lettuce, mayo, mustard.
We take some food orders for Tony and gang, but then we get told to join Paulie in the bathroom.
See him right now.
Probably wants corned beef now. Where is he?
In the camp, along with his business associate.
In the 20 years in the camp.
Joey does too good of a job with this guy.
Right now.
Maran, you killed him.
His ultra-violent behavior is going to become a pretty common part of this game. We take our friend Reggie to help with disposing of the body.
Get lost, Pops.
Ye shall die. Ye shall die as it was written.
Just what we need, a preacher on rot gut.
The game forces us to beat up a drunk homeless person. Our reign of terror on the common man is only just starting. We attack a bunch of blue-collar workers for the crime of living in New Jersey. Jesus Christ, what is this guy's problem? This game's gameplay loop is essentially walking through linear hallways, scavenging for trinkets for half of it, and then beating up people for the other half. This level isn't so egregious, but that walking around is going to get really tiresome real soon. This dumbass Reggie insists on keeping this guy's watch, and he also forgets to bring the cinder blocks. We grab some chain to weigh down the body, and it turns out the guy wasn't actually dead.
Shit, Reggie, where'd he go?
We gotta put him down, so this is where the game decides to introduce the gun mechanics. The gun mechanics of this game are interesting, to say the least, but I'll talk a little bit more about them in a bit.
Who's that?
All you need to know right now is that you can't shoot too much because that attracts unwanted attention, which results in a game over.
Oh, I can't lose respect.
This desaturated aesthetic of the dog has reminded me of Max Payne. Wish I was playing Max Payne right now. I do have to admit, this game does respect the show quite a bit. The cast actually reprised their roles, and the game even leans into the psychological and supernatural aspects of the show. That's right, we get to hang out with the force ghosts of Bompensero from time to time.
That.
You're really in it now, Joseph.
I can't
Holy
do any worse
shit.
than you did.
Now, admittedly, the execution of this all is pretty goofy, but I still like that the developers seem to at least care about the source material. Reggie and Joey go to the casino, and it's here that we find out that there is some complexity to Joey's character. He isn't just a goon. He stands up for women, too.
You mean that drunk? He was asking for it.
Shut up, bitch.
Whoa!
That's
Don't
fucking
call
enough.
them that.
I can't wait.
What are you doing?
I got a leaks to take. The party's drunk. I'm getting lame.
Put your dick away. This ain't the bathroom.
This game is just
It's okay.
incredible.
I like using the bushes.
I gotta issue a flashing image warning here. The piss bush damaged my camera. You know how Christopher and Little Carmine made that terrible movie? I think this game is one of those schemes. It's becoming unavoidable. I gotta talk about this game's combat. This game's combat is mindless and slow at best, and completely comatose at worst. It's so bad, but it gets even worse when you're in group fights. All the dudes face you at the same time, and this is especially bad when you get locked into these long-ass attack animations, so you can't react to Kyle over here kicking the shit out of you. The game tells you to mash certain buttons when you get pinned to the ground or grabbed, but I swear, the button mashing must be there for moral support or something, because sometimes you get out of the grab, and then other times you get pinned for 10 seconds even though you're pressing the buttons like your life depends on it. We're doing all this fighting because we gotta find Reggie, who's yucking about in places he shouldn't be. We infiltrate a party and liberate it from a pimp who probably has the most unique character design in the whole game.
Lady, this skank?
Tweak.
Not bad, Junior. Anytime you're ready to express your gratitude, the envelope's always waiting.
Back at the Bing, we are introduced to paying our respects. Think of it like how in Red Dead Redemption 2 you donate to the camp and that boosts honor, but here instead it boosts our respect meter. Respect goes down when you get too trigger happy, and I think it also goes down when you make bad choices, but I'm really not entirely sure. If respect hits 0, Joey meets the same fate as his father. This polypoint system also lets you unlock concept art as a bonus, so there's also that reward to justify your kleptomaniac tendencies. After defending the Bing's honor, we get to go on a mission with Christopher to go beat up some juiced up gym guys. Remember that kind of dumb moment from the pilot where Tony tears through a park and beats up a guy in broad daylight? This game is essentially just that moment repeated ad nauseum. Christopher types away at his computer, and then badass Joey picks up the katana and starts slicing up the gym trainer.
What? Christopher, behind you.
Okay, I know I keep being allegorical, but this is just a Xavier Renegade Angel bit. This gym shit goes on for so long, and at this point, I don't remember why we're even doing all of this. This roided up guy gives us some information on a Philly boss named Buscetta, who's mad about his nephew Mario disappearing. Mario was actually that guy we got rid of at the docks. Yeah, remember him? And Reggie has been flashing that watch all over town, and that's just not gonna fly anymore. When I got to Satriel's, I started to realize that my copy of Road to Respect might actually be haunted.
I'm starting to get scared.
I'm gonna try to keep those hauntings to a minimum in the edit, so that should be the last warning. Just know that I kept having this flashing issue across the entire game. Just in general, I'm just starting to realize that something is just off about this world.
This place is like somebody's memory of a town, and the memory's fading.
Buscetta shows up and starts talking about Mario, and after he leaves, we get told to kill Reggie. Now begins the descent. This hotel is a manifestation of all of Joey's problems. Joey is now starting to seem more like a Silent Hill protagonist in this place. So many doors, so many hallways. Violence fills these empty spaces. His respect for women is just a front, and he's no different from all the creeps at the Bing. The sounds of intimacy are locked behind a room, out of his reach. Reggie, a dear friend, is now just another man that needs to die, all in the name of Joey's selfish pursuits. You may think I'm joking with the Silent Hill comparison, but I mean, this game treats gun ammunition like I'm playing a survival horror. Just in general, the guns control like absolute dog ass. One of Buscetta's guys was also going after Reggie, so we have to take care of that guy too.
Hesh's nephew's bar mitzvah.
Oh hell yeah, it's bar mitzvah time. We won the game, look, it's Hesh! It's Hesh! We run into our dad in the mirror again.
All it took was wasting his best friend. What's your fucking point?
This game has a common visual motif with the sink. Joey continuously washes his hands in a poor attempt to make up for how dirty his life has become. He'll even phase through solid matter just to wash his hands. That's how desperate he is. Here's where the game reveals that it isn't about doing chores for the Sopranos crew, and is instead about doing chores for AJ. Joey has, no, I have hit a new low point in my life, being a bouncer at one of AJ's raves. Why are there a bunch of Cat in the Hats? If it sounds like I'm skimming through a lot of this area, it's because I was so checked out when I played this section. Which, I gotta say, it's pretty immersive. It's like I'm actually at a party I don't want to be at. We let out a little bit of our anger by beating up this blonde guy. This one little corner of the rave provides me with some much-needed peace.
So that guy upstairs, Bill, did he ever do this for you?
Actually, yes.
We start beating up these guys. I don't know why. I think it's just to defend this white woman's honor. I don't know. Turns out that blonde guy we beat up was actually AJ's business partner. And oh shit, Jamaican gangsters.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ!
The keys, boy.
The Jamaican gangsters steal Tony's car, and then Marky Mark over here rubs it in our face.
Y'all thought the beef was squashed? You fuck with my boys, son.
I don't know how Joey has gotten this far in life. He doesn't know how to find an address.
Couldn't find no address.
Did you look on the internet?
Joey has an argument with his dad about who's the shittier person, and then it's back to doing chores for AJ.
Put a cap in your best friend and you think you're better than me. I'm keeping my word with AJ.
I'm not joking when I say Tony's car is at the center of this game's conflict. The chop shop owner presses a button to reveal a hidden passageway to a massive illegal chop shop operation.
That ain't worth shit.
Dad was such a drag. Every day he'd eat the same kind of food, dress the same, sit in front of the same kind of games. Yeah, he was just that kind of guy. But then one day he goes and kills us all.
You have to beat up a dozen or so car guys before you can challenge the Jamaican. We get the car back, but this isn't the end of AJ's struggle with these Jamaican gangsters.
Don't worry, I got it.
If it's cash, you better kick up.
Paulie?
Paulie tells us we gotta collect some payments at a law firm, and we tell AJ to get Tony's car there.
Your dad was in the mob. Did he really just disappear?
I came here to piss, not talk.
Throw in the towel!
How many more times are we gonna fight someone in a bathroom? Oh, just one more time? Okay. Wait a minute. Was it all in my head? Where'd they go? Jesus Christ, it's never enough with this guy. He's always starting shit. He can't go 5 seconds without pissing off someone. Is this just how people in New Jersey are? After going through God knows how many more unnecessary altercations, we finally get to meet with the guy who owes us, and oh no. This fight is my own personal hell. These two abominations are agents of Buscetta. We keep taking the fight to the floor, and just every time I get the advantage, he just rolls us over. And we keep rolling over and over and over again. I keep mashing the button. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh, wait, my problem is I'm using an Xbox controller. And it doesn't help that his twin is also kicking me constantly. This rolling almost made me drop the game. I'm not kidding. How do you counter this? Every time I game over, I have to do this stupid fight with the old white guy and watch Neil have his way with his secretary.
Back to work.
At this point, I think the game may be trying to kill me. Throwing this guy out of the window has been the most rational thing Joey has done so far in this game. Neil tells us about a deal going down at the docks involving Buscetta, and then we lose the car again.
How many times is this gonna happen?
To get back at Buscetta for stealing his car, Tony tells us to blow up his adult film studio. Yeah, sure, whatever, man. This bathroom is my only escape from the horrors. Vito is our tag-along for this mission and is as useful as you can imagine.
Come on, I ain't doing this myself. I'm wearing out.
I'm gonna skip talking about most of this god-awful maze of a studio. If I let my mind think about it for too long, I might end up lost in it again. Maybe blowing this place up wasn't such a bad idea after all.
Trishelle?
Joey decides to become a firefighter right after blowing up the place once he realizes that blonde girl from the rave is here. You know, things actually don't seem so bad at this point. I mean, we got a girlfriend. Tony invites us to the grown-ups table. But then AJ reminds us of his existence. I have to rescue AJ because the Jamaicans are still mad at him about the whole rave thing. I rescue AJ, but he has to go to the hospital now. And I remember thinking that this might be the end, you know? AJ is found out, Tony learns about the whole rave situation and our involvement, and, you know, he has to shoot us or something. But that's not how this works. There's no release from this pain. There's plenty more of Joey's struggle left to cover. If I'm being honest, this hospital segment is honestly my favorite segment in the whole game because of just how absurd it is. It's also probably the longest segment in the whole game, with many different story beats. Honestly, looking back and writing about this, it's just kind of insane just how much happens in this stupid game. It's a lot like that classic show on HBO, Oz, if you've ever heard of it. It's a prison show. And in that show, what happens in one episode is like the equivalent of a season of The Sopranos. There's just so much shit. I just felt compelled to talk about Oz. I don't know why this segues here. Now back to like what we're actually doing here at the hospital. We're here to visit AJ and Tony, but we can do some side stuff here as well. This is what I mean when I was talking about dialogue options not mattering. I pick the smooth options when talking to this nitrous dealer just to see what happens, but Joey still beats up the guy to get a nice payout. AJ tries to defend us, but his whining doesn't do us any favors.
Get out of here and get me a coffee.
Sure thing, boss.
I don't know how Joey has survived this long. He can't even get Tony a coffee without getting distracted. We run into Buscetta because he's here visiting that twin we threw out of the window.
You're a fucking moron.
Buscetta actually makes a great point here. Joey is dead set on doing anything except giving Tony this coffee. We go after this doctor and beat him up. He tells us where the twin is being held in the hospital and also tells us about a shady pharmacy where we can get our money. On our way to the pharmacy, we run into Christopher.
You were already up there? I'm sorry I missed the fireworks.
I don't know why Christopher is so hostile toward Joey. I mean, he wrote the damn character. If he has any issues with him, it's his own fault. The pharmacists don't take well to us coming by, and we get to awkwardly abuse the special moves. I haven't mentioned them that much, and that's because they're very context sensitive, so they don't show up often, and they aren't really all that engaging because they just freeze the game and take you out of the action. You don't usually use them more than once, but for some reason these pharmacists have a ton of health, so this mobster beatdown turns into a Tom and Jerry sketch. Turns out that the pharmacy was actually getting robbed. We free the pharmacist, but then he gives us a jab and we have to fight his copies. I know I've talked about how horrible group fights are in this game, and this one is still bad, don't get me wrong, but I can't help but enjoy it because of how ridiculous it is. This shitty combat system actually fits well with the absurdity and disorientation of this scenario. Christopher shoots us in our bad trip and then we wake up. Joey then seeks out that twin like a bloodhound. Remember when this mission was about visiting AJ in the hospital? I can't even say that we've gone off the rails. That would imply that we have high-speed rail infrastructure. We go through another egregious group fight, and then we finally pull the plug on this guy. I wonder if Joey, gave Tony his coffee after this. Was it even still warm at that point? I mean, Tony summons us to the Bing to tell us that he listened to his son and is willing to pardon us. We cement our redemption by beating up that lawyer guy from earlier because of Buschetta or something. I don't really know. I think that the writers were just as checked out as I was at this point.
Oh, yeah. Angelo just returned your car.
Buster Struns harasses my kid.
Joey and friends go outside and we see Tony's car yet again. I told you it was important. It's like poetry, it rhymes. The blonde girl from earlier is here too.
What the fuck?
Tony Sirico is such a treasure, man. This car wreck is a message from Buschetta. Joey volunteers to put an end to all of this at the dock. We're finally almost at the end, but Joey makes sure to screw up one last time before the credits roll.
Hey, there he is. Hey, Louis, tell Angie we found him, just like Christopher said.
This Guido name drops Christopher. I think this is supposed to be some sort of twist, but this literally goes nowhere. It's not brought up ever again.
Every little bit helps. I've taken dumps that are worth more.
I was still picking up loot even though I knew the game was nearing the end. I think this game has made me a worse person. I have become fully immersed in the mind of Joey LaRocca. I'm LaRocca, and you are too. No, he's the two of us together. There is a set piece in this final mission in which you tip over a porta potty and dig a guy's face into... I'm not even going to finish that sentence or show it because no one deserves to see that. This game decides that now is the time to introduce a new weapon. It's not the best shotgun in the world, but anything's better than... But we're not allowed to have too much fun, and we are thrown into yet another group fight.
You're starting to really piss me off.
I'm so grateful I first tried this because this is one of the longest fights in the game, and I could not imagine doing that again. I really don't understand the stun mechanics. Sometimes when you get hit enough, you start spinning, and while it may be obnoxious as hell while I play it, I am amazed at the comedic potential of the mechanic. After a long gauntlet of porta potties and Guidos, we finally face Buschetta, but not before fighting his iconic henchman. We lose our gun, so there is no quick way to deal with this.
Hey, I ain't your enemy. You want to go after Tony? He killed your father.
I like how the story tries to create some internal conflict in Joey by having Buschetta talk about Tony killing his father, but Joey is not your typical protagonist. He's operating on caveman brain and just punches his way to the end.
The kid, you ain't nobody.
I'm Joey LaRocca. Hear that? Joey LaRocca. The last name you're ever gonna hear.
Buschetta is taken care of and Joey is sent to Mobster Valhalla and becomes a made man. This game ends so fast and it's pretty unrewarding, but there is an argument to be made that fits the anticlimactic nature of the show's later seasons. The credits play the opening theme and are presented like a slideshow you made in middle school. This game takes roughly 4 hours to beat, but it felt like a lifetime. Much like Lawrence of Arabia, we get to learn so much about this great man and his many shortcomings in 4 hours. In a lot of ways, we are all a little bit like Joey LaRocca, just trying to make it in the world. The music cuts off halfway through the credits. Not even the credits are polished. It's like poetry. It rhymes. I started looking at the concept art I unlocked after the credits were done, and I really appreciate this kind of stuff. You can see how they planned out areas and put notes on what kind of events should trigger in certain spots. I think it's important to remember that even a stupid game like this requires a great amount of effort. I don't know. I always get a little sentimental about this kind of stuff, even when it comes to a game I don't like. Even though this is a bad game, it is incredibly sincere, and I would be lying if I said this game wasn't fun to write about. I hope that the developers that worked at 7 Studios are doing alright. wherever they are now. That's about as close as this video is going to get to a proper conclusion. I didn't mean to get too sentimental at the end. I couldn't help myself, I guess. I don't know. This game was fun. It was stupid. It was bad. It was funny. And it was a bunch of other adjectives. And I hope you have a great day.